All right, get ready to go deep. Today, we're diving into the world of earthworms. You know those little guys we see in the garden?
Mm-hmm.
Well, turns out they might be way more than just garden helpers.
Yeah, they are. They might actually be key to cleaning up polluted soil. Pretty cool, huh?
That's incredible. So we're talking like pollution-fighting superheroes.
Exactly. It's all right there in this chapter, from advances in earthworms as biological remediators of polluted soils.
Okay, so no capes, just wriggly bodies and dirt.
Uh-huh, pretty much. And the secret weapon, it's something called the drylosphere. Basically, it's the entire area of soil, that's influenced by earthworm activity.
So like their own little underground city.
Yeah, and the earthworms are like the ultimate ecosystem engineers.
Okay, I kind of love that image. But how does that actually help, clean up pollution?
Well, think about it. In this earthworm city, you got middens, which are like compost piles, right? And then you got these intricate networks of burrows and the casts they leave behind, and then, of course, the earthworm's own digestive system.
Okay, so a lot going on down there.
Oh, yeah. And each one of those things plays a part in breaking down pollutants.
So it's not just the earthworm itself, it's this whole ecosystem they create. That's pretty amazing.
It is. And one of the coolest parts is the earthworm gut mucus.
Gut mucus.
Yeah. It's not just slime, it's packed with microbes that break down, well, everything, including pollutants.
Hold on, so they're eating pollution.
It's kind of like that. They have this microscopic pollution processing factory in their gut. Those microbes break the pollutants down into less harmful stuff, so it's like they're detoxifying the soil as they move around.
Wow, talk about efficiency. And you mentioned middens earlier. What do those do?
Think of them like hotspots for decomposition. The earthworms are concentrating organic matter, creating the perfect environment for these microbes to thrive. And some pollutants actually get trapped in that organic matter, which stops them from spreading.
Okay, so that's the gut mucus and the middens. What about the burrows? Those seem important too.
Oh, they're crucial. They're like highways for air and water, making the soil a better place for plants and those beneficial microbes. And get this, the walls of those burrows,
Yeah.
covered in microbes too, more pollutant breakdown.
So it's like this multi-level attack on pollution. This drylosphere is way more impressive than I ever imagined.
Right. It really is. And it gets even cooler. The research also talks about something called the charasphere, which is where earthworms team up with biochar.
Okay, biochar, I'm not familiar.
It's basically charcoal that's used to improve soil.
Mm-hmm.
So you take agricultural waste or other organic material and heat it up without much oxygen. What you end up with is biochar. Super porous, stable, and it holds onto nutrients and water really well.
This is like a super sponge for the soil.
Exactly. And the zone around biochar, that's the charasphere, and it attracts all kinds of good microbes. But here's where it gets wild. Earthworms actually eat biochar.
Really? They eat charcoal?
Yeah. And as it goes through their digestive system, it gets physically and chemically changed. It's like they're taking a regular sponge and turning it into this super absorbent, pollutant-trapping mega sponge.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's incredible. But there's more. Remember all that gut mucus and those enzymes we talked about? Well, they bind to the biochar and create these tiny bioremediation units that then spread throughout the soil. It's like they're building an army of tiny pollution-fighting robots.
Okay, this is seriously blowing my mind. Earthworms and biochar, the dynamic duo of soil remediation. But there's got to be some challenges, right? It can't be this easy.
You're right, there are. Not all pollutants are the same. Some can actually hurt or even kill earthworms, so we can't just, unleash them on any polluted site and expect miracles.
Right, makes sense.
Plus, earthworms need the right environment to do their thing. The temperature, moisture, food sources, all that stuff matters. If the conditions aren't right, they can't be as effective at cleaning up the pollution.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance for sure. We've covered so much, from this incredible drylosphere to the teamwork between earthworms and biochar. It's clear these little guys are capable of amazing things.
Absolutely, and it really shows how powerful it can be to work with nature, to solve environmental problems. But like with anything, there are things to consider.
Right, and I'm definitely curious to dig deeper into those challenges and what they mean for using earthworms to clean up soil in the future.
Yeah, that's a great point and something we should definitely talk more about.
So we know earthworms are like these tiny eco-warriors, but like you said, they have their limits. What are some of the biggest challenges researchers face when they're trying to use earthworms for, cleaning up pollution?
Well, one big thing is figuring out which earthworm species is best for a particular type of pollution. It's not like, a one-size-fits-all situation, you know?
Yeah.
Like some species are better with heavy metals, but others are better at breaking down, say, pesticides or chemicals from factories.
So it's like matching the right earthworm superhero to the right villain.
Exactly. You have to understand both the pollutant and the earthworm's, biology and behavior. For example, some earthworms burrow really deep, and others like to stay closer to the surface.
Oh yeah, that would definitely make a difference.
It totally does. And it's not just about the earthworms. The soil matters a lot, too.
The soil.
Yeah, things like the pH, the texture, how much moisture it has, and the organic matter levels, all that can impact how well the earthworms do their job.
So it's got to be like the Goldilocks zone for earthworms, not too acidic, not too basic, just right.
You got it. And then there's the issue of scale. In a lab, you can control everything, keep it perfect. But out in the real world, things get messy. Polluted areas can be huge. And making sure the conditions are right for the earthworms on that scale, that's a real challenge.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's one thing to see it work in a lab, but another to make it work out in the wild.
For sure. And we have to think about the risks too. Like, if we introduce earthworms to a new environment, could that mess up the ecosystem that's already there?
Right. We don't want to create new problems when we're trying to solve old ones.
Exactly. We have to be mindful of the other organisms and the biodiversity of the area. It's not just about dumping a bunch of earthworms and hoping for the best.
No, it's a lot more complex than that.
It is. It takes careful research, planning, and monitoring. But, even with all these challenges, the benefits of using earthworms, they're huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're a natural way to clean up pollution, it's cost-effective, and it's sustainable. Way better than using harsh chemicals or expensive equipment.
It's like harnessing nature's own power to heal itself. It just feels, I don't know, more in tune with how things should work.
I agree, and as we learn more about earthworms and how they interact with pollutants, we can come up with even better strategies to use them,
So it sounds like we're on the verge of like a whole new way of thinking about how we clean up pollution.
I think so. Moving away from those harsh chemicals and towards solutions that work with nature. But is everyone on board with this? Not necessarily.
Really?
Yeah, some people are skeptical, like with anything new. They question if it can really work on a large scale. And others are worried about unintended consequences, which is, understandable.
It's like cautious optimism, but keep doing the research and be careful how we put it into practice.
Pretty much. But one thing's for sure. The more we learn about earthworms, the more we realize just how important they are to, the health of the planet.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible to think that these little creatures we see all the time could be the key to cleaning up our messes and creating a more sustainable future.
It is amazing. And it really speaks to this idea of biomimicry, learning from nature and using those designs to solve our own problems. Instead of fighting against nature, we can work with it. It's better for everyone, for us and the environment.
Yeah, like that saying, nature knows best.
Right.
We just have to figure out how to tap into that wisdom.
Exactly. And the better we understand how everything is connected, the better we'll be at facing, the challenges that are coming our way.
This has been a really insightful deep dive into the world of earthworms. We've gone from these bustling underground cities to like tiny pollution-fighting robots.
Yeah.
It's clear they can do some pretty amazing things.
Yeah. It really makes you appreciate the power of nature and how important it is to understand and protect these ecosystems that we often overlook.
For sure. So what's the main takeaway for our listeners? What can they do to support these earthworm superheroes?
Well, we can all start by being more mindful of how we treat the soil. Simple things like composting, using fewer pesticides, and choosing sustainable gardening methods. All those things can help earthworm populations thrive.
And maybe next time we see an earthworm in the garden, we'll think twice before, stepping on it.
Yeah.
They're not just wiggly creatures. They're essential to our ecosystem. And maybe, just maybe, they hold the key to a cleaner, healthier planet.
Absolutely. Everything we do to protect the soil and the creatures that live in it helps create a better future for all of us.
So we've talked about the challenges and the potential benefits, but what about the future of using earthworms to clean up pollution? Are we going to see like earthworm-powered cleanup crews everywhere?
It's definitely possible. Researchers are always learning new things about earthworm biology, how they break down pollutants, We're finding out more about the specific enzymes and microbes involved and how to get the best results.
So it's not just about using earthworms as is. It's about like really understanding their superpowers.
Yeah.
Even at a molecular level.
Yeah.
And maybe even making them better.
Yeah. Imagine being able to design like biochar that's perfect for a specific earthworm and the pollutant you're dealing with. Or maybe creating mixes of microbes that boost their pollution-fighting abilities.
That's incredible. It's like a whole new level of bioremediation, combining nature and cutting-edge science. But how do you actually scale this up? Go from a lab to a polluted site in the real world.
That's where it gets really interesting. It's not as simple as just releasing a bunch of earthworms. It takes planning, engineering. Researchers are working on things like bioreactors.
Bioreactor?
Yeah, they house the earthworms in biochar and let you control how the contaminated soil or water is cleaned up.
So it's like a pollution-fighting factory. But instead of machines, it's earthworms and biochar doing the work.
Exactly. And you can design these bioreactors to target specific types of pollution. They can even be used to clean up water, like industrial wastewater or runoff from farms. Pretty versatile, huh?
Wow, that's amazing. It sounds like we're moving towards a future where nature-based solutions are the go-to, not just a niche thing.
I think so too. And it's not just about cleaning up pollution. We can use this to create ecosystems that are more sustainable, more resilient. Think about it, using earthworms and biochar to bring life back to damaged farmland, or even create fertile soil where there was nothing before.
It's like we're changing what's possible, not just fixing the damage, but actually regenerating the planet.
I love that, and that's what makes this so exciting. It's not just about fixing problems, it's about creating a better relationship between us and nature, working together to create a better future for everyone.
This deep dive has been so inspiring. I have a whole new appreciation for earthworms. I mean, they really could hold the key to a cleaner, healthier planet.
Me too. It reminds us that even the smallest creatures matter, and that working with nature can achieve incredible things.
So to all our listeners out there, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep your eyes open for those unexpected heroes in nature.
And remember, every little thing you do makes a difference. Support sustainable practices, speak up for nature-based solutions, and spread the word about the amazing power of earthworms.
This has been The Deep Dive, taking you deeper into the fascinating world of earthworms and soil remediation. Until next time, keep digging deeper.